Tonight, as you settle into your pillow and the world grows quiet around you, I want you to imagine something beautiful. Picture yourself lying in a meadow on the clearest night you've ever seen. Above you, countless stars shimmer like diamonds. Scattered across velvet, each one a sun, each one perhaps warming worlds we've never dreamed of. And in this moment of perfect stillness, a gentle question floats through your mind like a whisper on the evening breeze. Are we alone? Before we begin this peaceful journey together, if you enjoy relaxing science stories like this one, feel free to subscribe, give this video a like, and comment below. Let me know what country you're watching from and what time you're listening to this tonight. Your gentle presence here means the world to me. Now, let yourself sink a little deeper into comfort. Pull your blanket closer. Let your breathing slow. Tonight, we're going to explore one of the most profound questions humanity has ever asked, but we're going to do it softly, like turning the pages of a favorite book by candlelight. We're going to wonder together about life beyond our pale blue dot, about the possibility that somewhere in the vast cosmic ocean, other beings might be looking up at their own night sky, asking the very same question. Close your eyes if you'd like. Let the gentle rhythm of these words carry you like a boat on calm waters. Tonight, we sail toward the stars, searching not for answers that might startle us awake, but for the kind of cosmic wonder that helps us drift into the deepest, most peaceful sleep. Asterisk, asterisk, in the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is hushed, and still, there's something magical that happens to our perspective. The concerns of the day seem to dissolve like morning mist, and we find ourselves naturally drawn to bigger questions, gentler wonderings. Tonight, as you rest there in your cocoon of warmth and safety, let your mind wander to a curiosity that has captivated humans for thousands of years. Imagine, if you will, that Earth is like a single grain of sand on an endless beach. That beach stretches beyond the horizon, beyond what your eyes can see, beyond what your mind can fully grasp. Each grain of sand represents a star, and many of those stars, so many of them have planets dancing around them like children playing in a cosmic garden. The numbers are almost too beautiful to comprehend. In our galaxy alone, there are more stars than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth, and each star is a sun, potentially warming worlds where life might unfold in ways we've never imagined. What if, right now, as you're listening to these words, there's a being on a planet orbiting a star in the constellation Andromeda, settling down for their version of sleep? What if they're looking up at their night sky, seeing our sun as just another tiny point of light, and wondering the same gentle question that we're pondering tonight? The thought is both humbling and comforting, like realizing you're part of something infinitely larger and more beautiful than you ever imagined. Consider this: the water in your body, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, all of these elements were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. You are literally made of stardust, carrying the universe within you. And if this is true for you, might it not be true for other beings, other forms of life, scattered across the cosmos? We are all children of the same stellar nurseries, all part of the same cosmic story that began with the Big Bang and continues to unfold in ways both magnificent and mysterious. The silence of space isn't empty silence. It's pregnant with possibility. It's the kind of silence that holds secrets, like a snow-covered forest where you can almost hear the whisper of snowflakes touching the earth. In this cosmic silence, signals might be traveling right now, crossing the vast distances between stars, carrying messages we haven't yet learned to hear. Radio waves from distant civilizations might be washing over us this very moment, like invisible ocean waves carrying bottles with messages from far-off shores. Some scientists believe that life might be common in the universe, as natural as rivers, flowing toward the sea. They imagine that given the right conditions, liquid water, a stable climate, protection from harmful radiation. Life finds a way to emerge with the same inevitability as flowers blooming in spring. Others wonder if we might be precious beyond measure, a rare spark of consciousness in an otherwise quiet cosmos. Both possibilities are equally wondrous, equally deserving of our gentle contemplation. Think about how life on Earth has found ways to thrive in the most unlikely places. Deep in the ocean, where sunlight has never touched, creatures create their own light, their own warmth. In the heart of volcanoes, in the depths of ice, in pools of acid, life persists, adapts, finds a way. If Earth life can be so creative, so resilient, so beautifully unexpected, what might alien life look like? Perhaps it floats in the clouds of Venus, or swims in the hidden oceans beneath the ice of Europa. Perhaps it's so different from anything we know that we wouldn't even recognize it as life at first glance. The beauty of this question, are we alone? Is that it doesn't demand an urgent answer. It's not the kind of question that keeps us awake with worry. Instead, it's the kind of gentle mystery that makes us feel connected to something larger than ourselves. It's a question that unites us with every human who has ever looked up at the stars and wondered. From ancient astronomers to modern scientists, from children making wishes on shooting stars to astronauts floating in the International Space Station, we all share this same beautiful curiosity. As you drift toward sleep tonight, let this question float with you like a paper boat on a gentle stream. Are we alone? The answer, whatever it might be, is less important than the journey of wondering. Whether we're the only life in the universe or part of a vast cosmic community, we are here, we are beautiful, we are part of something magnificent. And that, dear friend, is enough. That is more than enough. Let's walk together now into the gentle realm of science, where wonder meets understanding like streams, converging into a peaceful river. The question of whether we're alone isn't just a philosophical musing for late-night contemplation. It's become one of the most beautiful and methodical searches in all of science. And like all the best science, it begins with the simplest observations and grows into something magnificent. Picture, if you will, a scientist standing in her backyard on a clear summer evening. She's holding a simple device, no more complex than a radio, listening to the static of space. But within that static, she's hoping to hear something extraordinary. A pattern, a signal, a whisper from another world. This is how the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, began. Not with massive computers or complex equations, but with the simple, beautiful act of listening. The science of searching for life beyond Earth is like archaeology in reverse. Instead of digging down into the past, we're reaching out into the vastness of space, looking for signs of life that might exist right now, in this very moment. And just as archaeologists have learned to read the stories hidden in ancient pottery and tools, astrobiologists have learned to read the stories written in starlight and radio waves. Every star tells a story. When we look at a star through a telescope, we're not just seeing a point of light. We're seeing an entire solar system's biography written in the spectrum of its light. The starlight carries with it the chemical signatures of the planets that orbit it. If there's water vapor in a planet's atmosphere, we can detect it. If there's oxygen, methane, or other gases that might indicate life, they leave their fingerprints in the light. It's like being able to smell the flowers in a garden from miles away, or hear the laughter of children playing in a distant playground. This technique, called spectroscopy, is one of the most elegant tools in our cosmic detective kit. Imagine sunlight passing through a prism, splitting into a beautiful rainbow. Each color represents a different wavelength of light, and each element in the universe absorbs or emits light at specific wavelengths. So when we analyze the light from distant worlds, we're essentially reading their chemical composition, like a gentle poem written in the language of physics. The James Webb Space Telescope floating serenely in space like a giant golden flower, is our newest and most sensitive ear pressed to the cosmic door. It can detect the faintest whispers of distant atmospheres, the subtle signs that might indicate not just the presence of life, but life actively changing its environment. On Earth, the oxygen we breathe is produced by plants and algae. If we found oxygen in the atmosphere of a distant planet, it might be a sign that life there, too, is breathing, growing, transforming its world. But life might not always announce itself so clearly. Here on Earth, we've discovered life forms that exist in ways we never imagined possible. In the deepest parts of the ocean, where the pressure would crush a human being in an instant, creatures thrive without ever seeing sunlight. They feed on chemicals seeping from the ocean floor, creating their own energy through processes we're only beginning to understand. These discoveries have expanded our definition of what life can be, where it can exist, and how it might survive. Asterisk. The concept of the habitable zone, or Goldilocks zone, around a star is beautifully simple. It's the region where a planet would be not too hot, not too cold, but just right for liquid water to exist on its surface. Like the perfect temperature for a bath, or the ideal distance from a fireplace on a winter evening. Too close to the star, and water boils away. Too far, and it freezes into ice. But in that sweet spot, that perfect orbital distance, water can remain liquid, flowing, alive. With possibility, we found thousands of these potentially habitable worlds now. Each one is a new chapter in the story of cosmic possibility. Some orbit red dwarf stars that burn steadily for billions of years, providing a stable, nurturing environment for life to evolve slowly and patiently. Others circle stars similar to our sun, bathed in the same warm yellow light that has nurtured life on Earth for billions of years. The mathematics of cosmic possibility are staggering in their beauty. If even a tiny fraction of the stars in our galaxy ... say, just 1 in a million ... has a planet with life, it would still mean thousands of living worlds in the Milky Way alone. And our galaxy is just one of billions of galaxies scattered across the observable universe, like islands in an infinite ocean. The numbers become so large that they lose their meaning and become pure poetry. Instead, as you settle deeper into comfort tonight, let these scientific truths wash over you like a gentle tide. We are not just wondering about alien life. We are actively searching for it, using the most beautiful tools human ingenuity has ever created. We are listening, watching, analyzing, hoping. And with each new discovery, with each new technique, we come closer to answering that eternal question that has followed humanity since we first looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone. In the soft glow of twilight, let me tell you a story that happened long ago, when the world was quieter and the night sky seemed closer to the earth. It's a story about a young woman named Jill Tarter, who would one day become one of the most dedicated listeners for alien signals our world has ever known. But this story begins much earlier, in her childhood, when she first discovered that the universe was far stranger and more wonderful than she had ever imagined. Picture a little girl in the 1940s, lying on her back in the grass of her family's backyard, staring up at the Milky Way, stretching across the sky like a river of light. In those days, before city lights grew too bright, you could see the galaxy with the naked eye from almost anywhere. Young Jill would lie there for hours, watching satellites drift slowly across the starfield, wondering what it would be like to travel to those distant suns. She didn't know then that she was looking at her future, that she would dedicate her life to listening for voices among those stars. Her father, an engineer with gentle hands and a curious mind, would sometimes join her in the grass. He would point out constellations, tell her stories about the ancient Greeks who first named them, and together they would wonder about the possibility of life beyond Earth. If the universe is so vast, he would say in his quiet voice, It seems almost impossible that we would be the only living beings in it. Those words, spoken under a canopy of stars, would echo in Jill's mind for the rest of her life. Years later, as a young woman studying astronomy, Jill encountered a moment that would change everything. She was working with a radio telescope, a massive dish pointed toward the heavens, when she noticed something unusual in the data. A signal, repetitive and structured, clearly artificial. Her heart raced as she realized what this might mean. Could this be it? The first message from another civilization? She called her supervisor, barely able to contain her excitement and hope. But as often happens in science, the truth was both simpler and more beautiful than the extraordinary. Signal was coming from a newly discovered pulsar, a spinning neutron star that emits regular pulses of radio waves like a cosmic lighthouse. Not alien intelligence, but something equally wondrous. The dense remains of a massive star, spinning 30 times per second, sending out beacons that sweep across space with the precision of a metronome. This moment, this gentle disappointment, that bloomed into wonder, captures the essence of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Every false alarm, every natural phenomenon that initially seems artificial, teaches us something new about the universe. The cosmos is so rich with natural wonders that it can mimic the signatures of intelligence, reminding us that nature itself is the greatest artist, the most creative force we know. Jill's story continued to unfold like a slow-blooming flower. She became one of the founding members of the CT Institute, dedicating her life to the patient work of listening. Day after day, night after night, she and her colleagues would scan the radio spectrum, searching for patterns that might indicate intelligence. They listened to the radio whispers of distant galaxies, the static of interstellar space, the gentle hum of cosmic background radiation left over from the Big Bang itself. The work required a special kind of patience, the kind that comes from deep faith in the importance of the question being asked. Imagine sitting by a telephone for decades, waiting for a call that might never come, but knowing that if it did come, it would be the most important call in human history. This is the dedication of those who search for extraterrestrial intelligence. They are the cosmic gardeners, tending to our radio telescopes with the same gentle care that a gardener tends to seeds, never knowing which season might bring the harvest. In the 1970s, a beautiful moment occurred that still gives me chills when I think about it. A signal was detected that seemed so promising, so clearly artificial, that it was nicknamed the WOW signal, after the exclamation that astronomer Jerry Emmon wrote in the margins of the computer printout. The signal was strong. It came from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, and it lasted for exactly 72 seconds. It was never detected again, despite countless hours of searching. Was it a message from another civilization? A natural phenomenon we don't yet understand? Or simply an echo of our own technology, bouncing back to us from some distant satellite? We may never know, and perhaps that's part of the beauty. The WOW signal remains one of the great mysteries of SETI, a reminder that the universe still holds secrets we haven't unlocked. It's like finding a single footprint on a beach and wondering about the traveler who left it there. The mystery itself becomes part of the story, part of the gentle romance between human curiosity and cosmic possibility. These early pioneers of SETI, these patient listeners, created more than just a scientific program. They created a philosophy, a way of thinking about our place in the universe that is both humble and hopeful. They taught us that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence isn't just about finding aliens. It's about understanding ourselves. Every hour we spend listening to the cosmos is an hour spent contemplating what it means to be intelligent, to be alive, to be part of something larger than ourselves. As you drift towards sleep tonight, think of Jill Tarter and the countless other scientists who have dedicated their lives to this gentle quest. Somewhere in the world right now, Radio telescopes are turning slowly across the sky. Automated systems are analyzing data streams, and patient humans are tending to the technology that might one day hear the voice of another world. They are the guardians of our cosmic curiosity, the keepers of our hope that we are not alone in the vast, beautiful darkness of space. Now. Let us take a gentle journey together, floating outward from your comfortable resting place, beyond the walls of your room, beyond the atmosphere of Earth, into the vast ocean of space where the search for life takes us to the most unexpected places. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as a peaceful traveler, weightless and serene, drifting through the cosmos like a dandelion seed, carried by the softest breeze. Our first stop on this cosmic voyage is our own solar system, that familiar collection of worlds that have been humanity's companions since we first looked up at the wandering stars. But seen through the lens of astrobiology, these worlds become new again, strange and full of possibility. Each planet, each moon, each asteroid tells a different story about where life might hide, where it might flourish, where it might surprise us with its tenacity and creativity. Let yourself float gently toward Mars, that rusty red world that has captured human imagination for centuries. As you approach its surface, you see the ancient riverbeds carved into its dusty plains, the polar ice caps that grow and shrink with the Martian seasons, the towering volcanoes that once breathed fire into its thin atmosphere. Mars whispers to us of a wetter, warmer past, when rivers flowed and perhaps life stirred in Martian pools, in streams deep beneath the Martian surface. Protected from the harsh radiation of space, liquid water might still flow through underground aquifers. And where there's liquid water, there might be life. Not the complex, charismatic life we're familiar with on Earth, but microscopic organisms that have learned to thrive in the Martian underground, feeding on minerals and existing in a state of patient hibernation that could last for millions of years. The beauty of searching for life on Mars is that it feels almost within reach. We've sent gentle robotic explorers to wander its surface, to drill into its rocks, to taste its soil with scientific instruments that can detect the chemical signatures of life. These rovers, with names like Curiosity and Perseverance, are like beloved pets that we've sent to explore a distant park, sending back pictures and data that help us understand our mysterious red neighbor. Now, let your cosmic journey carry you further outward to the realm of the gas giants, where Jupiter reigns like a benevolent king, surrounded by a court of fascinating moons. Here, in the outer solar system, we find some of the most promising places to search for life, not on the surfaces of planets, but hidden beneath the icy shells of distant moons. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, appears as a smooth, bright sphere, covered in a shell of ice that's cracked and fractured like a frozen lake that's been stressed by changing temperatures. But beneath that ice, perhaps 10 miles below the surface, lies an ocean that contains more water than all the oceans of Earth combined. This hidden sea, kept liquid by the tidal forces of Jupiter's powerful gravity, might harbor life forms that have never seen sunlight, creatures that have evolved in eternal darkness to create their own light, their own warmth, their own complex ecosystems. Imagine, if you will, floating in Europa's hidden ocean. The water around you is black as night, but it's not empty. Gentle currents flow through this alien sea, carrying nutrients and energy from chemical reactions occurring on the ocean floor. Perhaps in the deepest parts of this ocean, hydrothermal vents release warm, mineral-rich water into the surrounding darkness, creating oases of life, just as they do in Earth's deep oceans. The life in Europa's ocean, if it exists, would be utterly alien to us, yet fundamentally familiar. It would face the same challenges that life faces everywhere: the need for energy, the need for raw materials, the need to reproduce and adapt. But it would have solved these challenges in ways we can barely imagine, perhaps using chemistry we haven't discovered. perhaps forming communities and ecosystems that operate by rules we don't yet understand. Enceladus, another moon in our solar system, orbits Saturn like a small, bright pearl. From its south pole, geysers of water ice spray into space, creating a magnificent display that speaks of liquid water beneath its frozen surface. When spacecraft have flown through these geysers, they've detected organic compounds, the carbon-based molecules that form the building blocks of life. It's like finding the ingredients for a recipe scattered in the wind, making us wonder what dish might be cooking in the hidden kitchen beneath Enceladus's ice dot as you continue your gentle journey outward. Let your mind expand to encompass the key. Vast distances between stars. Here, in the space between solar systems, there might be rogue planets, worlds that have been ejected from their original systems, and now wander through the galaxy like cosmic nomads. These planets, if they exist, would be forever cold and dark, but they might still harbor life in their deep oceans, kept warm by the heat of their own radioactive decay. The search for life has taught us that the universe is far stranger and more hospitable than we ever imagined. Life, it seems, is not a fragile flower that can only bloom under perfect conditions. It's more like a persistent weed that finds ways to grow in the cracks of cosmic sidewalks, in the most unlikely places, under the most challenging circumstances. Think of the extremophiles on Earth, bacteria that thrive in boiling water, organisms that live in pools of acid, creatures that survive in the vacuum of space. Each of these discoveries expands our understanding of what life can be, where it can exist, and how it might manifest on other worlds. They're like keys that unlock new rooms in the mansion of possibility, each room revealing new ways that life might surprise us. As your cosmic journey draws to a close, let yourself float gently back toward Earth, back toward your comfortable resting place. But carry with you the knowledge that the search for life is also a journey inward, exploration of what it means to be alive, to be conscious, to be part of the great cosmic story that began with the Big Bang and continues to unfold in ways both magnificent and mysterious. The question of whether we're alone in the universe is really a question about the nature of existence itself. Are we a unique accident, a singular miracle in an otherwise empty cosmos? Or are we part of a vast community of living beings, each world a unique experiment in the possibilities of life? Either answer fills me with wonder, and I hope it fills you with the same gentle awe as you drift toward sleep tonight. Asterisk, asterisk, in the quiet moments before sleep, when the mind is most open to wonder, let me share with you some of the most beautiful and surprising discoveries in our search for life beyond Earth. These are the gentle secrets that scientists have uncovered, the soft whispers of possibility that make the cosmos seem even more magical than we ever imagined. Did you know that there are clouds of alcohol floating in space? Not the kind you might drink, but methanol and ethanol, the same compounds that form the basis of alcoholic beverages, drifting through interstellar space in clouds so vast they could supply every brewery on Earth for billions of years. These organic molecules, the building blocks of life, are created naturally in the cold depths of space, in the stellar nurseries where new stars are born. It's as if the universe itself is brewing the ingredients for life, mixing them slowly in the cosmic cauldron of space and time. Here's another gentle surprise that might make you smile as you drift towards sleep. We've discovered that space has a smell. Astronauts who have been on spacewalks report that their spacesuits, when brought back inside, carry a distinctive odor that's been described as metallic, like hot metal or welding fumes, mixed with the sweet scent of raspberries. This cosmic fragrance comes from the interaction between their suits and the vacuum of space, a reminder that even emptiness has its own unique character. The search for extraterrestrial life has led us to some of the most unexpected places, including the upper atmosphere of Venus. While the surface of Venus is hot enough to melt lead, With crushing atmospheric pressure and clouds of sulfuric acid, the upper layers of its atmosphere are surprisingly Earth-like. About 30 miles above the Venusian surface, the temperature and pressure are similar to a mild day on Earth, and some scientists have proposed that life might float in these high-altitude clouds, living in aerial ecosystems unlike anything we've ever imagined. Recent discoveries have suggested that there might be phosphine gas in Venus's atmosphere, a compound that, on Earth, is only produced by living organisms or industrial processes. While the detection is still being debated and studied, it raises the tantalizing possibility that life might be drifting through the Venusian sky right now, perhaps in the form of microscopic organisms that have adapted to an airborne existence, living their entire lives floating in the clouds like cosmic balloons. One of the most surprising discoveries in the search for life is that the essential ingredients for life seem to be everywhere in the universe. Amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, have been found in meteorites that have fallen to Earth. These space rocks, some of which are older than our solar system, carry within them the chemical signatures of life, suggesting that the raw materials for biology are scattered throughout the cosmos. Like seeds waiting for the right conditions to sprout, the Murchison meteorite, which fell in Australia in 1969, contains more than 70 different amino acids, including some that are not found in any living organism on Earth. It's like finding a cookbook, written in a language we don't recognize, filled with recipes for dishes we've never tasted. This suggests that life, if it exists elsewhere, might be built from the same fundamental ingredients as life on Earth, but combined in ways that create entirely new flavors of biology. Here's a fact that might surprise you. The most abundant life forms on Earth are invisible to the naked eye. Bacteria and archaea, microscopic organisms that most people never think about, make up more biomass than all the plants and animals on our planet combined. These tiny creatures live in every environment on Earth, from the deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountain peaks, from the Antarctic ice to the hottest desert sands. They are the true masters of our planet, and their incredible diversity gives us hope that life might be equally abundant and adaptable elsewhere in the universe. Some of these microscopic life forms on Earth seem almost alien in their abilities. There are bacteria that can survive in the vacuum of space, organisms that can live in pure radiation, microbes that can go into a state of suspended animation for thousands of years, and then come back to life when conditions improve. These discoveries suggest that life is far more resilient and creative than we ever imagined, capable of surviving in environments that would be instantly lethal to larger, more complex organisms. The concept of panspermia, the idea that life might spread throughout the universe by traveling on asteroids and comets, is one of the most poetic theories in astrobiology. Imagine microscopic life forms, hardy and patient, hitchhiking rides on space rocks, traveling between planets and even between star systems over millions of years. When these cosmic travelers finally land on a suitable world, they might awaken from their long slumber and begin the slow process of colonizing their new home. In this view, life becomes a cosmic wanderer, spreading through the galaxy like dandelion seeds carried by the wind. Perhaps most surprisingly of all, we've discovered that the search for extraterrestrial life has changed our understanding of life on Earth. Every time we discover a new form of life in an extreme environment, every time we find organisms thriving in conditions we thought were impossible, we expand our definition of what life can be. The search for aliens has made us better at recognizing the aliens that already live among us, the strange and wonderful creatures that share our planet, and remind us that life is far more diverse and adaptable than we ever dreamed. As you settle into sleep tonight, let these gentle surprises float through your mind like shooting stars. The universe is full of unexpected wonders, strange coincidences, and beautiful mysteries that make the search for life feel like the most natural thing in the world. Whether we're alone or part of a vast cosmic community, we are surrounded by wonder, bathed in mystery, and cradled in the gentle arms of a universe that seems almost eager to surprise us with its creativity and beauty. Asterisk, asterisk, as we drift deeper into the gentle realm of contemplation, let us pause for a moment and consider what the search for extraterrestrial life teaches us about the nature of existence itself. In the quiet sanctuary of your thoughts, as sleep draws near like a soft tide, allow yourself to ponder one of the most beautiful questions science has ever asked. What does it truly mean to be alive? When we search for life beyond Earth, we're not just looking for little green beings or flying saucers. We're searching for something far more profound and mysterious. The spark of organization, the dance of chemistry, the gentle rebellion against entropy that we call life. But the more we learn about life in the universe, the more we realize how difficult it is to define what we're actually looking for. Consider the virus, that strange entity that exists at the boundary between living and non-living. A virus cannot reproduce on its own, cannot metabolize energy, cannot respond to its environment in the way we typically think of living things. Yet it carries genetic information. It evolves. It adapts. Is it alive? The question becomes even more beautiful when we realize that viruses might be among the most abundant entities in the universe. If space is filled with viral particles, drifting between worlds, carrying genetic information across the cosmos, what does this mean for our understanding of life? The search for extraterrestrial life has taught us that life is not a thing, but a process. It's not a noun, but a verb. Life is the continuous dance of molecules, the ongoing conversation between order and chaos, the persistent effort to maintain structure in a universe that tends toward randomness. When we look for life on other worlds, we're looking for this dance, this conversation, this beautiful struggle against the natural tendency of things to fall apart. On Earth, we've discovered that life exists in forms so strange and wonderful that they challenge our every assumption about what living things should look like. There are organisms that live for thousands of years, like the ancient bristlecone pines that have weathered more than 4 millennia of storms and seasons. There are creatures that can survive being completely dried out, like the tardigrade, which can remain in a state of suspended animation for decades and then return to life when water becomes available again. What does it mean to be conscious? This question becomes even more profound when we consider the possibility of alien intelligence. If we discovered a civilization on another world, how would we recognize their consciousness? Would they think in ways we could understand? Would they have emotions, dreams, fears, and hopes like us? Or would their consciousness be so different from ours that we might not even recognize it as awareness? The dolphins in our oceans have brains as complex as our own, yet their intelligence is so different from human intelligence that we've barely begun to understand it. They live in a 3-dimensional world of sound and echolocation, where they can see inside objects, where they can communicate across vast distances through the ocean sound channels. If we struggle to truly understand the consciousness of creatures that share our own planet, how much more mysterious would alien consciousness be? Perhaps consciousness isn't binary, something you either have or don't have. Perhaps it's more like a spectrum, a gradient that ranges from the simple responsiveness of a bacteria to the complex self-awareness of a human being. If this is true, then consciousness might be far more common in the universe than we imagine. Every world where life exists might be a world where some form of awareness flickers, where some degree of experience unfolds, where the universe becomes conscious of itself through countless different forms of perception. The question of whether we're alone in the universe is really a question about the nature of meaning itself. If we're the only conscious beings in the cosmos, then we become the universe's way of understanding itself, the only eyes through which the cosmos can see its own beauty, the only minds through which it can contemplate its own existence. This would make us incredibly precious, incredibly responsible for preserving and celebrating the miracle of awareness. But if consciousness is common, if the universe is filled with thinking, feeling beings, then we're part of a vast community of awareness, a cosmic conversation that spans galaxies and eons. In this view, every world where life exists becomes a unique perspective on existence, a different way of experiencing the wonder of being alive. The universe becomes not just a collection of matter and energy, but a symphony of consciousness, each world contributing its own melody to the cosmic song. Either possibility fills me with the same gentle awe. Whether we're alone or part of a vast community, we are participants in the greatest story ever told, the story of matter becoming conscious, of the universe awakening to itself, of existence becoming aware of its own existence. We are the universe's way of looking at itself, thinking about itself, questioning itself, and finding itself beautiful. As you drift towards sleep tonight, let yourself feel the profound privilege of being conscious, of being aware, of being part of this magnificent cosmic awakening. Whether you're the only conscious being in the universe or one of countless trillions, you are precious beyond measure, a unique perspective on existence that has never existed before and will never exist again. You are the universe experiencing itself subjectively, and that is perhaps the most beautiful fact of all. In the gentle darkness of your resting place, as your breathing slows and deepens, let us travel together through the vast corridors of time, exploring how the search for extraterrestrial life connects us to the deepest rhythms of cosmic history. Time, in the context of life and the universe, becomes not just a measurement, but a kind of poetry, a slow song that has been playing since the beginning of everything. Imagine, if you will, that the entire history of the universe is compressed into a single year. In this cosmic calendar, the Big Bang occurs at the first moment of January 1st, and this present moment is the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. In this perspective, the first stars don't begin to shine until late January, and our own sun doesn't ignite until early September. The Earth forms in mid-September, and life doesn't appear until late September. All of human history, from the first cave paintings to the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope, occurs in the final minutes of December 31st. This perspective on time is both humbling and comforting. It reminds us that life is a recent development in the cosmic story, but also that once life appeared, it persisted, evolved, and flourished across billions of years. If life could establish itself on Earth and survive for nearly a quarter of the universe's total age, through ice ages and asteroid impacts, through mass extinctions and dramatic climate changes, then life might be incredibly resilient, incredibly persistent, incredibly creative in its ability to adapt and survive. The search for extraterrestrial life is really a search across time as much as across space. When we look at distant stars, we're seeing them as they were years, decades, centuries, or millennia ago. The light from Alpha Centauri, our nearest stellar neighbor, takes more than 4 years to reach us. When we observe that star system, we're seeing it as it existed when you were 4 years younger than you are now. If there are beings on planets orbiting Alpha Centauri, and if they're looking back at us, they're seeing Earth as it was 4 years ago. This means that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence is also a kind of cosmic archaeology. We're looking for signals that were sent before we were born, messages that have been traveling through space for decades or centuries before finally reaching our radio telescopes. Somewhere in the cosmos, there might be a civilization that sent a greeting toward Earth when your grandparents were children. And that message is still traveling through space, drawing closer to us with each passing moment. The concept of deep time changes everything about how we think about communication with extraterrestrial intelligence. A conversation with beings around a star 100 light years away would take 200 years for each exchange of messages. You might send a question, and your great-grandchildren might receive the answer. This isn't the kind of communication we're used to. It's more like leaving messages in bottles to be found by future generations. More like writing letters to be opened centuries from now. But perhaps this is exactly the kind of communication that truly advanced civilizations would engage in. Perhaps they think in terms of centuries and millennia rather than seconds and minutes. Perhaps they're patient in ways we can barely imagine, content to participate in conversations that span generations, to engage in projects that unfold over geological time scales. In this view, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence becomes a meditation on patience, a practice of thinking beyond our own brief lifespans. The elements in your body tell a story of deep time that connects you to the search for life in the universe. The carbon in your muscles, the oxygen in your blood, the calcium in your bones. These elements were forged in the hearts of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years ago. You are literally made of stardust, assembled from the remains of stellar giants that exploded in supernovas before our solar system even existed. The search for life elsewhere in the universe is really a search for our cosmic family, for other beings who are made of the same stellar elements, who are children of the same ancient stars. This connection, through deep time, means that all life in the universe, if it exists, shares a common heritage. We are all products of the same cosmic processes, all built from the same stellar furnaces, all participants in the same grand story of matter becoming complex, becoming organized, becoming alive. Whether life exists on one world or millions of worlds, we are all part of the same cosmic family tree, all branches of the same universal story. The timescales involved in the search for extraterrestrial life also teach us about the nature of hope. The scientists who dedicate their lives to SETI, to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, are engaged in a profoundly hopeful act. They're listening for signals that might not arrive for decades, working on projects that might not succeed. In their lifetimes, participating in a search that might take centuries or millennia to complete. This is hope in its purest form. Hope divorced from immediate gratification. Hope that extends beyond individual lifespans to encompass the future of our entire species. As you settle into sleep tonight, let yourself be comforted by the vast scales of cosmic time. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, and it will continue to exist for trillions of years more. In this vast expanse of time, our brief moment of existence is precious, precisely because it is so fleeting. We are temporary patterns in the cosmic dance, brief fluctuations in the universal symphony, but we are also conscious participants in the greatest story ever told. Whether we're alone or part of a vast community of conscious beings, we are part of something magnificent, something that extends far beyond our individual lives into the deep time of cosmic history. Asterisk as we approach the end of our peaceful journey through the cosmos, let us rest for a moment in the gentle art of wondering itself. In the soft sanctuary of your thoughts, as sleep draws near like a familiar friend, consider how the search for extraterrestrial life has taught us something profound about the nature of human curiosity, about the beautiful compulsion that drives used to ask questions that may never be answered. There is something deeply moving about the fact that we are the kind of beings who wonder about other beings. We are the species that looks up at the night sky and asks, "Is anyone else out there?" We are the creatures who build radio telescopes and space telescopes, who send messages into the void, who listen patiently for replies that may never come. In all the universe, as far as we know, we are the only beings who wonder about the possibility of other beings wondering about us. This capacity for wonder is perhaps our most beautiful characteristic. It's what makes us human in the deepest sense. Not our tools or our technology, but our endless curiosity about the nature of existence. We are the universe's way of becoming curious about itself, of asking questions about its own nature, of marveling at its own beauty and complexity. Whether we're alone or part of a vast community of conscious beings, this capacity for wonder is a gift beyond measure. The search for extraterrestrial life has taught us that wonder is not just an emotion, but a way of being in the world. It's a gentle openness to possibility, a willingness to be surprised, a readiness to have our assumptions challenged and our perspectives expanded. When we listen for signals from other worlds, we're not just listening for aliens. We're listening for the unknown, for the unexpected, for the possibility that the universe might be stranger and more wonderful than we ever imagined. Wonder is what allows us to find meaning in the search itself, even when the search doesn't yield immediate results. The scientists who have dedicated their lives to SETI have not found definitive proof of extraterrestrial intelligence, but they have found something equally valuable. They have found ways to expand human consciousness, to push the boundaries of what we think is possible, to remind us that we are part of something vastly larger than ourselves. The gentle art of wondering has also taught us about the importance of questions that don't have easy answers. In our daily lives, we're often focused on problems that can be solved, puzzles that can be completed, goals that can be achieved. But the search for extraterrestrial life reminds us that some of the most important questions are the ones that may never be definitively answered. These are the questions that keep us humble, that remind us how much we don't know, that preserve the sense of mystery that makes life worth living. What if the search for extraterrestrial life is not really about finding aliens, but about finding ourselves? What if the question, "Are we alone?" is really a way of asking, "Who are we? And what does it mean to be conscious in a universe that seems vast and indifferent?" In this view, every moment we spend wondering about life beyond Earth is a moment spent contemplating the miracle of our own existence, the precious gift of awareness that allows us to ask such questions in the first place. The search for extraterrestrial life has also taught us about the beauty of shared wonder. When we look up at the night sky and wonder about other worlds, we're participating in an activity that connects us to every human being who has ever lived. From ancient astronomers to modern astrophysicists, from children making wishes on stars to astronauts floating in space, we all share this same fundamental curiosity about our place in the universe. Wonder is perhaps the most universal human experience, the thing that unites us across cultures and centuries. There is something profoundly hopeful about the fact that we continue to search for extraterrestrial life despite the vast distances involved, despite the long odds, despite the possibility that we might be alone. This hope is not naive optimism, but something deeper. It's a faith in the value of the search itself, a belief that the act of wondering is worthwhile regardless of what we find. It's an expression of our conviction that consciousness is precious, that intelligence is valuable, that the universe is worth exploring, even if we're the only ones doing the exploring. As you drift towards sleep tonight, let yourself rest in the sea, gentle embrace of wonder. You are a wondering being in a universe full of wonders, a conscious creature capable of contemplating the nature of consciousness itself. Whether you're alone in the cosmos or part of a vast community of thinking beings, you are precious beyond measure, a unique perspective on existence that adds something irreplaceable to the cosmic conversation. The search for extraterrestrial life continues, patient and persistent, like a lighthouse beacon sweeping across the cosmic dark. Somewhere in the world right now, radio telescopes are listening, computers are analyzing data, and human beings are tending to the instruments of wonder. They are keeping vigil for all of us, maintaining our collective curiosity about the possibility of cosmic companionship. And in their patient listening, in their gentle wondering, they are performing one of the most beautiful acts of which our species is capable. They are keeping hope alive in the vast darkness of space.